Welcome to the part 2 of this project. We're going all the way to the end, so subscribe if you haven't. So we are making our cargo pockets for this shirt, and I'll be showing you exactly what to do. We'll take the measurement from the top, which is 10.5 inches. We'll mark on both sides. Then from the buttonhole line, I'll be marking 2 inches for the left, and from the buttonhole line, I'll be marking 2 inches to the right. And with that, I have actually created a cross shape, and that cross shape would be where our pocket will start from. So this is the piece we are working with. I want my cargo puff to be as big as that, so I will sew on that line. So I'll make sure it is as big as 1.5 or 1.75 inches. So after making my stitch on that line like that, I'll open it up. Then after opening it up, I'll make use of my pressing iron to create a gator first before opening it, because that gator will actually help in determining the center part of the folding. So that on that gator, I'll make sure the distance from the gator to the right is the same with the distance from the gator to the left. So with that, I'll use my pressing iron to press down like that, and I'll use the iron to also carve out the shape of the pocket. So after pressing the front and the back, I'll be folding the top, folding the side, and also folding the down line. But in all these foldings, the space I'll be folding will be different. So for the top, I'll be folding something very big as that, but for the side, I'll be folding half inch all through. So I'll use my pressing iron to hold it down. Personally, I don't like working with hemming gums. Hemming gums, for me, I feel it's not for people who want to do mature jobs, because if you make a mistake, you don't even have the opportunity to correct it. So I'll use my pressing iron to hold down the sides like that, and also bend the down line by half inch as well. Then I'll be creating a diagonal shape on the edge of the down line. All I just need to do is create one diagonal shape like that. Then I'll use that part to create the shape of the other side. I just need to bend the pocket into two, that's fold it into two, then use what I have to create a replica of that diagonal shape on the other side. Then I will use my pressing iron to make a gator line all through like that. Now for everything I'll be bending, I'll still need to hold it down. To hold it down, I'll be using a half-inch stitch away from the edge. So I'll be using a half-inch stitch like that away from the edge. Then I would also bend the upper part. So I've bended the upper part, made a half-inch stitch, and also made a half-inch stitch away from the edge, and that was good enough to hold all my foldings down. So when I'm actually joining the pockets to my fabric, I will sew on the edge. So you could see both of them are exactly the same replicas of each other. You must make sure they are exactly the same shape and size. Now to cut the cover of the cargo pocket, I'll just make sure whatever I'm using is half-inch wider than the cargo pocket itself. So that is just all I need. That half-inch would be the sewing allowance I will use in sewing it, and after sewing it, it will become the same. So I'll pick up one, make a diagonal shape like that, and I'll cut off. And with that particular one, I will use that one to cut a replica of the other pieces like that. That would mean I will be cutting extra 3 pieces to be exactly the same shape of that initial one I cut. So because you'll be using 2 for one, so you'll be using 2 pieces for one cover. So I'll cut the second and also cut the third. And after doing that, I would have succeeded in cutting 4 pieces that are exactly of the same shape and size. So 2 would go for one, and the remaining 2 would go for the other one. So I'll just make a half-inch stitch all through. So the material is a little bit thick, so you don't need any technicality in sewing because there are ways you sew things that brings out sharp edges, but you just can't do that with this because this is too thick. So you just make your half inch stitch all through like that. And after making your half inch stitch, you'll be turning to the right face. Mind you, I actually did this on the wrong face. That is the right face facing the right face. So I'll bring it out. After bringing it out, I'll also make a half inch top stitch. Everything must rhyme. Since the cargo pocket itself have a half inch stitch, the upper part too would have a half inch stitch. So the half inch stitch was responsible for holding it down like that. So after that, I'll be bending and placing on each other like that. So you just fold. You can sew it inwards and you can also sew it on top. Now, if you want to use your badge, this is the best time to fix your badge. So in fixing your badges, you just sew on the edges of the badge like that. You don't need to sew all through. Just sew on the right and on the left, and you have a space in between. So after that, you do the same for the other one. So after doing the same for the other one, we are done creating our cargo pocket. So we'll be going straight to the fixing of the cargo pocket. Now, if you remember, when I was marking the points, or should I say the positions I'll be fixing the cargo pocket, I was very adamant in creating a plus sign. So that plus sign would actually be where the pocket would start from. So it is on that plus position. But before you do anything, make sure you use your hands to straighten out your fabric like that. So on that plus position, I'll place my cargo pocket, and I'll be making use of pins to hold it down. So if you use pins to hold it down, it will be very easy for you to just go on your machines and start sewing. Now, on using badges, you can use as much badges as you desire. In making cargo shirts like this, it just depends on how cool or crazy you are. So if you're the crazy type, you can use as much as even 10 badges. And if you are the cool type, you can use as fewer as just one badge. So you could see I'm placing everything exactly where I want them to be. And after doing that, I'll be making use of my pins to hold it down. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using pins because I don't always like getting pierced by a pin. So I would just arrange everything like that. Make sure the 2 inches gap is uniform. That is, the gap from the top is the same 2 inches gap to the down part. Then I'll be placing my other bigger badge there like that. That badge actually have gum attributes on it. So if you depend on the gum, you can use it. But for me, I won't depend on the gum. I'll be sewing all through the edges of that badge. And I would also be sewing the top like that, or I can sew it from inside. Then on the down part, I'll just sew on the edges all through, sew on the top like that too, and also sew on the edges of the pocket all through. So that will help in holding down the pockets and the badges.